Two people who have been at the forefront of sport in India, beacon and torchbearers in their own light. In table tennis, that India could win a Commonwealth Games medal, that India could beat the top-ranking paddlers in the world, and now it's a regular occurrence. A torchbearer, symbol of women's empowerment, an absolute stalwart. And this is her first time at the Trailblazers conclave. Like I said, put your hands together for the very best that India has seen. Manika Batra. That gold medal, she was kind enough to do an interview with me within 15 minutes of winning that gold medal at the Chess Olympiad. And the line to take autographs was evidence what chess has come to in India. Now I call her the voice of chess. Put your hands together for Tanya Sachdev. And finally, medalist at the Paris Games, absolute rock star shooter. We will all look to him for the Asian Games and beyond. Put your hands together for Swapnil Kusale. And to moderate this session, of course, Jaimin, you have to come back, because to see someone go to Paris, encourage the Paralympians, and that's when Jaimin and I got really close. Absolute stalwart who's backed Indian sport, can talk about the corporate perspective. And to moderate this session, Shormishta Guptu.
Someone help me with this? Is there someone to help me? Just. Welcome everyone to this panel, which is India and the Participatory Sport Revolution. একটু এটা নামানো যাবে? আমার মুখের থেকে উঁচু হয়ে গেছে। ঠিক। This is India and the Participatory Sport Revolution. I have a really eminent panel here. I have three of our very top athletes who have brought immense glory to the country. I have Anil, who Boria just introduced. He's India's marathon man, as I call him. He started this revolution, which is now so big. Everyone is running a marathon. It is a participatory sport. It is not something you simply watch, where you simply watch and where you simply, want to emulate your stars. It's where you participate, no matter what age or what gender you participate. And of course, we have Jaimin. He's a sports enthusiast. We met Jaimin when we were at the Paris Paralympics, and we were really surprised to see a fellow Indian there, and he came and introduced himself to us. And that's where the friendship started, and we were really surprised because all the media there disappeared after the Olympics. And, Ref Sports was the only media contingent there. And there was this Indian going from venue to venue, watching all the, all the Paralympic competitions. So welcome each one of you, my panelists. And since Anil has a flight to catch, I'll start with Anil. Now, Anil, you have, you're the architect of this revolution, which is marathon running. It's not only the big cities, it's in a lot of other places now. Almost, out of, if I talk to 4 people, 2 people are either training to run a marathon, or they've already, done a marathon, big or small stretch. Now, when we were growing up, there was nothing like this, and if anybody told me in the 80s that there would be this kind of a revolution, I wouldn't have believed it in the 90s when I was growing up. And while there was participatory sport, most definitely, I was growing up in Kolkata. There was boys played cricket on the streets. We are a football crazy city, so boys were playing a lot of football on the Maidan, but it was mostly boys. Participatory sport was mostly about men. how did you conceptualize this very democratization of participatory sport in India?
Well, it wasn't rocket science. It was actually quite simple. But all you had to do was to sort of just look at it straight in the eye. You know, if all great cities in the world have a marathon, why not India? Why not the great cities of India? The other thing that we did was we sort of, you know, there are 7 distances in the world of distance running, from 5, 10, 15, 21, 25, 30, and 42. So removing 5 and 30, which are really not the distances, today we are proud to say that India has, out of the 4 distances, we have the #1 event in the world. And in the Tata Mumbai Marathon, which is a full marathon, we are #6 in the world. So in 20 years for India to own this kind of IPs is quite stunning, if I may say so myself. Because then that only comes because if the nation responds to it. Just to give you a little more trivia along the way, today ProCam's platform is the single largest philanthropy platform in Asia, sports platform in Asia. Today ProCam, through its running events, have raised 700 crores for over 1,500 NGOs. And remember this, that I can tell you, if you donated 100 rupees in 2004, I can tell you in which brick it lies. That's how transparent the system is. The other fascinating point on charity is, before we came into the picture, the cost for charity was close to about 40%, 35%, because if you took money from a corporate, you'd have to do a fashion show, a Sangeet event, or some kind of a dinner, and you know, you spend that. Today, the cost of charity is 3%, which has been absolutely remarkably phenomenal. You know, when we started, we had about 6 to 7% women participation. Today, we are at 40% women participation. Now, these are fantastic things that, you know, that has happened. We've just realized how independent it makes a woman. Then how she is, after all, the leader of the family. She decides what comes on the table. So she's a huge, if she can buy in, you will see the change. Today, ProCam has a direct influence over 2.5 million people, and an indirect influence over 60 million people in this nation. So it's quite interesting. There are 1,100 timed distance running events in India. And today it's the #2 sponsorship sport in the country by far. It's 1,000 crores of sponsorship that comes into running. And more than that, it's about, about 1,000 people lace up every day. So it's a phenomenal ecosystem that we're only at the tip of the iceberg. And when I say tip, I mean tip. You know, we've got 5 million runners, 2.5 million that run races. So, you know, we're a 1.5 billion nation with the youth, like somebody today remarked, we've got the highest 250 million youth which has never happened anywhere in the world. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and it brings the people together. It's the greatest public-private partnership that you can find. You know, they've got 19 agencies of every city that work with us. We shut the cities down. We are the biggest showcase of India to the globe. It's not IPL. We go to 110 countries our television goes to. It doesn't go to 25 or 30 cricket playing countries. So there's a lot it's come in a huge way. It's sort of on every facet of society.
Thank you, Anil. And it's not only women, it's families actually. You know, I've seen, children, elderly people, even if they run a little bit, but they try to do it in the spirit of family.
Yeah, we have the senior citizens, which is one of the greatest fun things to see. Kids, yet we don't encourage kids to take part in serious distance running races until you're 15 or 16 years old. But yes, it is community. It is a city. It is there for each other. It is one of the most fascinating group of people you will ever find in that sense, because they think like sportsmen, but they can do so much more in terms of their influence in society. You know, there's a very funny saying that if you dropped, God forbid, but if you dropped some kind of a device on the start line of the Tata Mumbai Marathon, at the half marathon, you'd have half of corporate India not being around. So it's been fantastic to see this kind of, the kind of a surge that has taken place, and it's just growing bigger and bigger as we go along.
Thank you, Anil. I'll come to Manika. Manika, I understand that you started playing your sport very young, and from the information that's available to me, you both your siblings played, and you started playing from school, and thereafter you went on to the state level, and the rest was history, of course. So tell me, and I know that table tennis, even when I was growing up, it was in families, because it did not need a lot of, equipment. You could have a table tennis board, and you could have, just less equipment, but you just needed some people who wanted to play. So it was easy to make it a community sport, but what was the community around you when you started to play? What was the community around you apart from your family? Was it your school? Was it neighbors? How did you go about as a kid playing this sport?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I started when I was 5 years old. At that age, मुझे नहीं पता था कि मैं इस level तक पहुंचूंगी, of course. My siblings, they used to play, and watching them play, I started this sport. And at that age, like from that age, the support system around me, my family, my coaches, the school, everyone was, I would say, on top. The support I got from everyone was I'm really happy and grateful for that. But yes, at that time, I started to just enjoy, that moment was कि मुझे बस enjoy करना है, and that was, मतलब हर families में ऐसा होता था कि कुछ hobby के लिए खेलना है तो table tennis खेलते हैं, but I think that has changed nowadays. People, families, सब focus कर रहे हैं अब table tennis join कर रहे हैं, अपने बच्चों को join करवा रहे हैं. So I'm really happy for that कि, and kids also coming to me and saying कि they want to, participate in this sport. So I'm really happy कि वो change आया है अब. And yeah, I would say कि मैं जो भी कर सकती हूँ for my country and the support I got from उनके लिए, I will keep on doing that.
Thank you very much, Manika. And you said something very important, that for a child, you just want to have a good time. And you were finding joy in what you were doing. And I'm sure a lot of people who are running marathons are finding that joy. So, while, of course, to go professional or to train for something is, a later decision that you take in consultation with your family, but just participatory sport is something that you do with your family, something that you find joy in, something that a community does, that where, a community bonds around sport. That's when it becomes participatory sport. I'll come to Swapnil. Swapnil, again, मैंने आपके बारे में थोड़ा सा research किया है. So again, you, I think at the age of 14 or something, you went in for, you joined a very intense physical program, for physical training, and at the end of it, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a choice of sports and you chose your sport, right? You chose shooting. Now, why did you choose that? Were there others around you that you knew who were, into this sport? What was your motivation behind that? And let me add one thing, that when you won the medal in Paris, our team was, of course, there in Châteauroux. We were in Paris because Châteauroux was some distance, obviously, so we had two of them there. But in Paris, we rejoiced greatly, and you made the country proud. So do tell us, what was your motivation when you chose your sport? What was the community around you, since we are talking about community participation?
Hi everyone. Actually, I started shooting, I think in the age of 16 or 17. But before that, I was into Krida Prabodhani, the Maharashtra government scheme. And उसमें ऐसा था कि you have to give test, physical fitness test and everything. After all of these tests, they choose score-wise which event or which sports give to you, because your body conditions, everything, they decide कि क्या रहता है, कैसे रहता है. And before that, Commonwealth Games, जो Youth Commonwealth Games 2008 में हुआ था पुणे में, and I saw that on TV, and there was a final going on to air rifle shooting ka, and I saw something interesting. And I belong to Kolhapur city, and you know the history of Kolhapur, the wrestling and the shooting because of Maharaja. And I started, felt like shooting is different from the other sports, and because of that, something is I felt inside me कि कुछ करना है तो डिफरेंट ही करते हैं, ना कि सेम सेम क्या करना है. एंड आई स्टार्टेड लाइकिंग द शूटिंग मोर एंड मोर ऑफन. एंड आफ्टर coming into shooting, I personally enjoyed what is the shooting it's called.
Thank you, Swapnil. And I'll come back to you again. Tanya, again, welcome again to the Trailblazers Conclave. Now, chess, again, there has been a culture of playing chess in our country. You know, Anand was in our imaginary, you know, from the time I was a child, you know, while I did not play chess, but there were other children around me who played chess, and everyone's idol was Anand. And then there was this revolution where, you know, others came along and you came along, and then, you know, there was this whole chess revolution. So tell me, when you started playing, again, the same question that I asked Manika or I asked Swapnil, what was the community around you? When did you start playing? What was the kind of encouragement or, you know, family, you know, how did your family encourage you?
A very good evening to all of you. Well, to answer your question in a few words, when I started playing, there was no community around. It was many, many years ago. I was 6 years old. I was from Delhi. Let alone sports, chess culture to tha hi nahi bilkul. I was the only girl from the city who started playing. Today there are hundreds of them who play, and I think sports has come such a long way. And I think that is also a reflection of the theme of this talk, which is participatory sport. We talk about marathon, cycling, where, you know, cities become the arena. It's the same with chess. It's an easy sport to play. It's a sport that truly is, it's the ultimate mind game. It's something that breaks so many barriers, including it's intergenerational, it is gender breaking, boys and girls can play together, you can go to parks to play, all you need is a chessboard and a friend to play along. And I think that's been the big shift across sports. That from a country that is one that loves to watch sports, that is a fan of sports, has now started living it. People, you know, elite sports is basically a few people performing for many. But now that whole cultural shift has happened where it's not just about becoming a top athlete. It's not just about with the dream of becoming a professional player, but people realize and parents realize and kids somewhere realize that sports is solving two very big modern world problems, which is health and loneliness. As you come together as a community in sports which are easy to play, which are accessible, don't require massive arenas, don't require massive infrastructure, you will automatically see a big boom in that. Whether it's marathon running, whether it's cycling, or an indoor sport which requires a table, like chess. So coming back to your point, when I started, I think it was incredibly difficult in Delhi. I had to travel all the time. There was no sporting infrastructure. There was no training infrastructure. There were no excellence academies, so to say. There was barely anyone who knew what the path ahead was. And we all grew up with one name, Vishy Anand, and he had no roadmap. He was sort of the beacon who set that for us. And I think this entire boom of sports across country, including chess, is the reason that why now there's not one name, but an entire bench of professional athletes and also grassroots level who are entering, because chess is a participatory sport.
Thank you, Tanya. Yes, absolutely, all very pertinent points. Now I'll come to Jamin. Tanya, you know, I'll take a few keywords from what Tanya said. She said chess is something intergenerational. You know, so I'll take intergenerational, I'll take participatory, and I'll come to you. When we were at the Paris Olympic Games, and then the team stayed on for the Paralympic Games, my job was to cover the fan zones. You know, right, that when you were in Paris, that they had created fan zones all across the city for fan engagement. And these fan zones were tucked away in all kinds of places. For instance, I remember going to this particular medieval church, and there were these, you know, all kinds of these, you know, whatever else. I mean, there was this golf, a small golf, you know, place for kids to play golf, or other sports, boxing. And this is all in the middle of the gargoyles, and someone's telling me, you know, that part of the Da Vinci Code was shot here. So it's all very community integrated, you know, it's in the middle of neighborhoods. Now, you've been there, you've seen that culture, and then when you come back to India, what are the differences? Do we do enough around our big events? Do we do enough around the events that we hold in this country?
Not exactly, to be as a short answer. Yes, there are things like the revolution in marathon running. Chess has become a lot more participative right now. But there are lots of things which we don't do enough. I mean, let's take the same, we talked about the Paralympics, and when we were there, let's take the Stade de France where the athletics championships were being held. That was what, a stadium of about 80,000. On any given day, you would have about 40, 50,000 people, and they were paid tickets. You come to Delhi for the World Para Athletics, which happened just about in October. I was there. It was free for all. You would struggle to get anything like 4,000 to 5,000 people in the stadium. The stadiums were empty. Delhi as a city did not know that such an event is happening in the city where the elite of the World Para Athletics were there. If I talked to people around, there was nothing there. Media coverage, yes, Rev Sports was there, but very little other media coverage. If you looked at the newspapers, very little. So if you're looking at participatory sports, I think we need to go beyond it. And yes, well, there are success stories. It's still a lot needs to be done. And you have sports where you possibly don't need so much of involvement, whether it is chess or running or volleyball or football or whatever. But overall, as how do we make stories about when we get winners? I mean, we've seen situations where, take badminton, for example. When Saina and Sindhu were playing the total number of badminton courts in Hyderabad or Bangalore, anecdotally from what I learned, was about 300-400 each. Today, there are about 6,000 or 7,000 courts each. Just the fact that you had role models, you made it a participatory sport, media played a big role. So I think all of that needs to be woven in and make sure. You know, Anil talked about philanthropy and getting everybody in. Now, I'm associated with an NGO which supports athletes. The whole idea is get people to participate. Even that's participation for me. Get them to contribute in whatever small way. They will feel good about the fact that they're contributing to the sports, and then get into some involvement or the other with sports.
Absolutely, and I think we need a lot of government initiative also. You know, for instance, again, I come back to Paris. You know, we were staying where our hotel was. You know, one of the stadiums was just bang, you know, next door, and we could see. And when the Para Games was on, I think it was the Para basketball venue, and I was like, I just woke up one morning, looked out of my window, and I'm thinking, no, this was in the evening actually, not in the morning, in the evening, and what are all these people? This is like India, there's so many people on the street, where are all these people going? What's happening? And then, you know, I was told that, you know, there's this para basketball happening here, and, you know, that's where, and it's all children and families, and, you know, I think, I don't know exactly if, you know, there's incentives now, because it's already a culture there, but what we do need in our country is to incentivize people, you know, is to promote this more. That's what we definitely need. So I'll come to Swapnil. Swapnil, what is the, in your sport, what's the viewership like? I mean, you know, when you play in India or something like that, what kind of viewership do you get? What kind of community involvement do you get at this stage by way of viewership?
So it's like after winning the medal in my state, the people don't know about me before that, and some of them didn't know about after that also. My local place, the people celebrate everything, but overall the place, they don't know what is going on related to the sports. They just know about the politics and the other activity, and here we lose the players or athlete. We need to promote, or we need to give them the best things, and that time the people don't know where to see properly. Not just they see on the like television, they see the politics and the other activity, but they never show the what's going on to like sports activities and other.
All right. Okay. Manika, I'll come to you. From the time that you started and now, what's the difference that you've seen? What's the trajectory that you've seen? How have you seen interest growing? How have you seen, you've talked about how people are trying to go more professional. How have you seen this, this interest in the sport grow?
I think visibility bada hai. I will talk about myself, like when I won Commonwealth Games, uske baad se I have seen people watching table tennis and people are interested कि क्या हो रहा है अब इसके मैच का क्या हो रहा है अब, but still अभी बहुत कुछ बाकी है, जैसे like स्वप्निल said कि बहुत कम दिखाया जाता है on TV, like table tennis also it's not that popular and इतना नहीं दिखाता. So I would suggest कि और ये सब होना चाहिए कि लोगों को पता चले हम कितना हार्ड वर्क कर रहे हैं, एथलीट्स कितना हार्ड वर्क कर रहे हैं एंड क्या परफॉर्मेंस आया. दैट वुड मोटिवेट ऑल ऑफ अस एंड बट आई एम हैप्पी कि वो चेंजेस थोड़े से आए.
Budapest, the level of interest was more than the 6 Olympics put together that I had played previously. So I will say yes, completely agree that there's a lot to be done, but I think there's a lot of positives to look at as well. When you talk about what you saw in Paris, we are saying to get to a level which is so far away, but we have to make that journey through it. And I think India is on that path. And that path truly to me comes from the fact that today, kids, parents want to play sport. They want to get out. Sports is not a supplement life anymore. It is an alternative life now. And yeah, I think it's been very positive for me to see the change. What I do hope will happen in the future is that there are more accessible sports, more points where people can come in and look at it as a lifestyle, not just look at it as to become a top athlete. And I think that will be the game changer when sports like shooting, like table tennis, like chess have more people at the beginner level as someone who truly enjoys the sport, not just aims to become a professional player.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Tanya, absolutely agree with what Tanya said, that we need to grow the ecosystem. It's not just, and again, I was at this time, I think yesterday, doing a panel with Sania Mirza, and, we discussed the very similar things that, it's not like I want to be like a Tanya Sachdev or a Manika Batra or a Sania Mirza. I want to play the sport. I want to get up every day and I want to play the sport. I want to live this sport. It's, that is where we will grow the ecosystem. So grow the ecosystem, grow structures, debate more, grow more discourse around sport, and that's when we will truly have a participatory sports revolution in this country. Thank you very much to all my panelists, Manika, Tanya, Swapnil, Jamin, and Anil, who's left because he has a flight.
Thank you very much once again. Participatory sport. You will see two of our panelists back in the next session as well. But to this one, Tanya was talking about viewership. ChessBase India now has more than 1 million subscribers on YouTube. 1 million. When Gukesh won, it's like commentary. Ravi Shastri after that Mahendra Singh Dhoni hit. Ravi Shastri after Sachin Tendulkar, double 100, that Superman from India. Tanya Sachdev's commentary after Gukesh won. I'll never forget when that move was missed by his opponent and Tanya Sachdev takes off. It is like that commentary that has defined Indian sport. I urge you all, go to YouTube, check that out. Instantly, all of us, we had Atro at that point in time in Singapore, and we went big with that coverage. So these people make a fundamental difference in the sporting ecosystem. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Meenu, can I have you on stage to do the felicitation, please? Meenu and Jaibin Bhatt, Swapnil Kusale, Tanya Sachdev, Manika Batra, and Shomishta Guptu. And as we call the next panel, because we almost have made up time. Like yesterday, I'm not going to give the tea break, the Kit Kat break. There is Kit Kat there behind you. There are coffee, tea, soft drinks outside.